Welcome to Most. Přijďte fandit a držet palce nejenom mě, ale celému českému týmu Bagíra.
Hi, my name is Norbert Kiss and here we are in Most in the Czech Republic and the second half of the season is about to start. Úgyhogy gyertek, nézzétek az élő közvetítést és szurkoljátok nekem. Sziasztok!
Hallo liebe Fans, wir sind zurück aus der Sommerpause hier in Most. Drückt mir alle die Daumen, damit wir die bestmöglichen Punkte hier holen können, damit wir nach dem Wochenende wieder Zweiter sind.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Autodrom Most and welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott and I'm your commentator for the English stream of this wonderful championship on this fantastic racing weekend. My colleague Joachim Eberts, EB as he's known, is commentating over on our German stream as well. So if you do speak German, you can go over and listen to him if you would prefer. Well, we've had another qualifying session this morning that means Norbert Kish is on pole once again. Sascha Lenz will be starting alongside him, and it's going to be a very interesting afternoon's racing, I am sure. We had a really exciting day yesterday as well, and this circuit has been a proper challenge for the drivers once more. There is absolutely no let-up in how relentless Most can be. 21 corners, and I tell you what, each one of them more important than the last. They all flow into one another through the middle of the circuit, especially on the left-hand side of that track map there. Turns 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all in very quick succession, all very important for getting momentum out of the hairpin and onto the back part of the circuit. 4.2 kilometres long. It's actually quite a long lap here. It's just over 2 minutes at the moment in these trucks. A Formula One car will still do it in about 1 minute 16. So it is a full Grand Prix length circuit. And obviously our truck's not quite as agile through some of the twistier bits as the likes of a Formula One car, but still very impressive for their size. We'll have a look at the full grid then. As mentioned, Norbert Kish is going to start on pole position for the time. Sascha Lenz alongside him on the front row, hoping to make a lightning start as he often does. Jochen Hahn will start in third position with Antonio Alberthetti joining him on row 2. After a big engine fire yesterday, Antonio, I'm sure, will be very happy to be joining on with them right up there in 4th place. Adam Lachko is going to start in 5th place. He's going to be alongside Steffi Halm on the 3rd row. Not much between those two, actually, only about a tenth of a second by the end of the session. Teo Calve starts next up in 7th position, but then we have Jose Rodriguez in 8th. He did a 2:02.405 in qualifying, and this next man coming up, Jamie Anderson, did a 2:02.406, only 1,000th of a second between the two of them. He starts alongside Lucas Hahn, with whom he had an amazing battle day at the end of race 2. Jamie Anderson coming out on top in that one. Next up, Truck 11 P11, Andre Kurzim starts alongside Shane Burton on row 6. And then at the back of the grid, in 13th and 14th, we will have Jonathan Andre behind Stefan Faas. Stefan, unfortunately, had another issue during qualifying, but he has still got a time on the board and will start 13th on the grid. Looks like they've got it fixed. Apparently, it was an electrical issue initially, and then there was a problem with actually having the truck turn to the right as well. So he could not get it properly away from the hairpin. And he decided to pull over to one side and keep it as safe as possible. The session may have been red flagged, but we were able to still get back on with it and complete the session. Wonderful conditions again today at Autodrom Most here in the Czech Republic. The sun is shining, there is barely a cloud in the sky, and everybody is anticipating another great day's racing. 2 races, of course, coming up today. We have this first one just about to get going. And then we have another live stream later on at 4:15 local time, 3:15 p.m. for those of you watching in the UK. And the reverse grid will be applied for the final race of the weekend as well. The top 8 drivers from this finishing order will be reversed. So whoever finishes in 8th will be on pole position, as Lucas Hahn was yesterday, well on his way to his 2nd ever win in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. But unfortunately, Jamie Anderson was just too persistent for him. Put his nose down the inside, made a tiny bit of contact, admittedly, but they both got on, they both discussed it, and they were both absolutely fine. There is his father, Jochen Hahn, in the number 4 machine. He's going to be starting this race third on the grid behind Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kish. Coming into this, Jochen Hahn is second in the championship. Norbert Kish quite a long way ahead now at this point. Norby has a points advantage of 4. It's rather impressive to say the least. 233 points for Norby, 179 for Jochen Hahn, 164 for Sascha Lenz. And we have an interview with none other than Antonio Albacete, who had problems yesterday.
Yes, Chess, you are right. I'm with Antonio Albacete. Antonio, please explain to us, yesterday you have a really serious engine failure. How was this moment when the engine was blown up?
Well, it was suddenly, you know, it was no any warning or anything to prevent that something will happen. And suddenly I noticed some vibration and a big explosion. And I was not sure if it was the engine or was the dry shaft and broken the fuel tank, you know, because I see the flames. But yeah, it was a very big engine failure. I mean, normally these things doesn't happen, you know. But it was a shame it happened to us. And I mean, since then we have a little bit of problems. But I hope that today everything is okay.
So we can see Norby is going on pole position. So he's so strong this season. The gap between you and Norby and Sascha, are you happy about it? It's not too far away.
Well, it's still a little bit far away, you know. I mean, but I think we are getting closer, you know. I mean, sometimes we have a very good setup. The team has been working this summer and we take some improvements. The problem yesterday was this engine failure, you know, and I hope that we can put everything all together for Solder. So I look forward for Solder.
But we look forward now for race 3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely stuff. Great to speak to Antonio. I mentioned earlier just how much of a top guy he is. He's a really, really nice guy to speak to. Always tries to look at the positives with everything as well. And he's been around for a long, long time in motorsport, and he certainly knows the ropes by now. He's very realistic about everything, and he's been in pretty much any situation you can imagine. Antonio, he's 57 years of age and shows absolutely zero sign of slowing down at all. We look here at Norbert Kish. You can see a little bit of battle scarring down the side of his truck after yesterday's races, but that's perfectly understandable. It was very close quarters stuff yesterday afternoon, and he was having to work very hard to make his way back through the pack. He, of course, started 8th on the grid in yesterday's second race and eventually finished in 4th position, only 3 seconds off the top trio, actually. The 3 of them are only separated by just over 0.7 of a second by the time the flag dropped. And Adam Lachko, just losing out on the race win by 1/10 of a second, 0.101 of a second by the end. There is Sascha Lenz, truck 2, P2. He wears that number as he finished the championship second last year. And he will be hoping to try and beat the man that's starting on pole position, which is over there on the right-hand side with Andreas Norbert Kish.
Yes, so I'm with Norbert Kish. It's right. We saw the race director, Michal Marek, was talking to you. Is it a secret what you're discussing?
No, it's not a secret. He's a fan of ours, you know. He's always cheering for me, you know, to win. And yeah, he's really nice about it. So he just came and told me to do the best I can and win.
Yeah, hopefully you can win. But this morning, the qualifying Super Pole, it was very tight between you and Sascha. It was less than 1/10 of a second. Yesterday it was more. What's the reason that maybe Sascha is a little bit stronger today?
Well, yeah, I think so. He did definitely a better lap time than what he did yesterday. And I did worse. I made a mistake in my first attempt in the Super Pole. I think I brake a little bit too late on the chicane on the first turn here. and I missed the turn. So then, I slowed down, let everybody go, come around slowly, to cool the car and everything, and then tried another fast lap, and then that was my last attempt, because of the mistake. So, I had to make sure that the lap is fine, like no penalty markers or no leaving the circuit, or whatever, that they take the lap time away, because then no more lap time for me, So then I had to be a little bit, had to take a little bit less risk than usual, So, yeah, it was a difficult qualifying, a little bit of a mistake on my side, but thankfully the lap was still enough.
Can you describe for all the fans looking live stream or watching live stream when you came back from the formation lap and you are coming here on the straight finish line, so seeing the red lights, what is going on your focus? What are you focusing on?
Well, I have my things what I do, to prepare the racetrack, for the start. With the tires and with the brakes and with the start screen, and I just try to concentrate that everything is up to temperature, and that the water coolings are running and they are running at the right amount that is required for the start and the first couple of laps. So just concentrating on technical things until the exit of the last turn, and when we are on the start-finish straight, then I'm just looking for the lights and preparing for the start, because in track racing we have a very special start, because we have a huge turbo lag. So if you would just rolling at the start with like a small throttle, and then when you have the light and then you go on the throttle, then everybody overtakes you, because then the turbo coming so slow, because of the big engine and the big turbo, so you will get the power very late. So what we are doing is that we still have to keep it between 50 and 70, but then you have to go like quite much on the brakes and full throttle, so that you load the turbocharger, the boost is on the maximum, and then you are on the brakes, and then you are looking at the lights and holding the car like that for like 5-10 seconds even, and then when the light comes, then you release the brake, and you are already on full throttle with full boost, so then you start. So it's a really special kind of start that I think you don't see in many disciplines. Probably with some cars that has turbocharger, you have to do something like this to have some boost right away. But yeah, with the trucks, it's a very special start. So yeah, this is what you have to do.
Thank you very much for this explanation, and all the best for the race now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can talk until the end of the race if you want,
Thank you.
I can speak so much.
Back to you, Chaz and AB.
Thank you very much, Andy, and thank you very much, Norbert Kish. Fantastic to hear about how the starts work here, because, I mean, without that, we'd have just thought that, you coast up to the line, you mash the throttle as soon as the lights go out, and that's it. But as you heard Norbert explain there's a lot more to it, where they have to make sure that the boost is all prepared and there's no turbo lag going to kick in, and obviously cause them to have any sort of bog down off the line once the lights go out. It's great to hear that. So at least we all know now in more detail. And you never know, some drivers further down the order might not always apply the same method to that. They may just wait and mash the throttle and then have that turbo lag. So sometimes Magician never gives away his secrets. But to be honest, I think a lot of the field is going to need more than just that to keep up with Norbert Kish. He is a real star and a really good guy as well. He's a good laugh. And as you could tell there, he's all about having a good time and just enjoying what he's doing, and he's always around to have a chat with us and give us insights into how he gets through a race weekend and what goes into it. Him and the Revace Racing team are a fantastic squad, and we love having them in the paddock. There is Sasha Lenz's number 2 MAN, glorious big black machine towering over the second spot on the grid, ready to try and dethrone Norbert Kish from the top spot here at Most this afternoon. But at the very front of the grid, even ahead of our pole sitter, is our Ford F-Max, driven by my good friend Lucas. He's going to do the inspection lap here and throw the F-Max around, put it through its paces, and make sure that, of course, the circuit is safe for racing and there is no debris, no spillages, nothing untoward that may affect the racing in any way. The Ford F-Max was the 2019 International Truck of the Year. As the livery celebrates, we're very grateful for Ford providing us with the official trucks for the season. We have 2 of them. They are big blue wonders. And a lot of incredible lab testing and thousands of kilometers went into creating the Ford F-Max. And obviously with it being International Truck of the Year, you can tell that it has paid off. It'd be nice to see some racing versions of the Ford F-Max come into the championship. It's not really a brand you see much within the world of truck racing, but it's great to see it at the forefront here with our official truck at least. It would be nice to get even more manufacturers added to our wonderful grid. It's always interesting to see where certain manufacturers have their strengths and weaknesses at different circuits as well. It's mainly MANs that dominate grid. No. A couple of Ivecos here and there, and then, of course, some of the Scanias. We usually have Heinrich Clemens Hecker, but they've actually had a clash with their schedules for this round. So, unfortunately, the work life outside of the motorsport had to take priority. Often does. And Heinrich Clemens Hecker and his team cannot be here for this round. But we look forward to having them back with us at future rounds of the championship to improve the numbers ever further and get more and more machines on the grid. Lucas continues on the inspection lap now. When I first met Lucas at the Hungaroring earlier in the season, he was showing me what he does with his day job and some of the safety testing and all of the sort of procedures that he goes through with road trucks and road-going trucks, and trying to help improve any preventative measures for having like fishtail moments and all sorts of potential accidents that may happen on the road. You know, the safety aspects within the trucking industry is massive, and Lucas is a very brave boy. He throws the trucks around quite a lot to test out these measures. He's a lot braver than I can tell you that for free. Put the truck with him a lot of the time as well. And they're both really wonderful people and a good laugh to be around. So we see then the grid now being cleared of personnel. Everybody is going to make their way into the pit lane and prepare for the start of race 3 of the weekend, the 19th race this season in 2022. And all eyes will look to the front of the grid. And I imagine have their fingers crossed that maybe, just maybe, somebody can outdo Norbert Kish in the first race of the day. It's usually the case that Norby will put it on pole and then disappear off into the distance in these first races of each day. And he's well on his way to his 4th title, his 2nd in succession so far this year. And I know there's a number of drivers 8 points off him, or at least slow his progress in some way. But you have to give him credit, though. He and his team have just been amazing once again this season. And it's not even over yet either. We've got a lot of races left to go, even after the 2 that we're going to complete today. We're going to have the 12 this. We go to Zolder next weekend in Belgium. We're going to be racing on the Bugatti circuit there. And then we have the finale at Jarama in Madrid in Spain. 4 races there to complete the championship, and what a great place to do it as well. Jarama is a wonderful circuit. A very old school track as well. And I know a lot of the drivers really love that place. It's a very endearing circuit. So everyone making their way around now then. Just getting everything up to temperature, testing out whatever they can test out, trying to get a feel for the circuit and any changing conditions to what they experienced in qualifying anyway. And we have our very own Frank the Tank driving the Iveco at the front. The S-Way, and G, our Iveco S-Way. It's a great machine, a lot of power. Not quite as much power as the F-Max that we saw just a moment ago. But still enough to be a mighty quick truck. Nowhere near, of course, the power of our racing trucks. They're about 12 horsepower, 5,000 Newton meters of torque as well. They can certainly put that power down, that's for sure. There you see the whole field making its way down towards turn 13. That's really, didn't I? Bright yellow Lion Truck Racing machine. Certainly stands out amongst the crowd. But keep your eye on Sasha Lenz on this start. The black and green number 2 truck on the front row of the grid. Sasha's starts are very, very good. Even Norbert himself has said that Sasha is good off the line. He certainly knows what he's doing. We've seen it before as well. I think he made a demon start at Slovakia Ring a few months ago and got right alongside Norbert Kish. Start his position here in this championship means a hell of a lot. As you can imagine, 5-ton trucks are quite hard to overtake in and quite hard to overtake. So everybody just creeping their way up through turn 18 now. And it won't be long now until we get race 3 of the weekend underway, race 19 of the season. With Norbert Kish on pole again. Sasha Lenz second again. Let's see what they've got, shall we? The whole field makes it round the final corner. The red lights come on the gantry. And of the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is go, as they all say. Now, they're all the spotters inside the pit lane for each driver on the radio, telling them when the lights go out and when to put their foot down. Great to get that shot as well, actually. I was told about that at the Nürburgring. Sasha Lenz does get a good start. He's round the outside of Norbert Kish into turn 1. He's going to be ahead into turn 2, is he surely? Looks like a bit of shenanigans on the inside. Steffi Halm's off on the inside of the road again. Another bit of drama for her down at the first road. Adam Lachko was off the road as well. A number of gravel time and time again. Sasha Lenz is still side by side with Norbert Kish as they go down towards turn 6 and 7. Norby gets his nose in front, but Sasha's now on his left-hand side as they go around the long double right-hander at turn 7 and 8. Is he going to still be on the inside at turn 9? Yes, he is. Is Norbert Kish going to be on the inside at turn 10? Yes, he is. Is Jochen Hahn going to try and come back at them? Yes, he is. Norbert Kish holds on to the lead. Sasha Lenz is wide on the exit. Jochen Hahn is now going to try and have a go at his countryman. But once again, Norbert... Fantastic. Sasha Lenz, awesome respect. And they stick together all the way up to turn 10 on the first lap. Antonio Albertetti's got a bit of bodywork damage. Adam Lachko still remains in 5th place ahead of Teo Calve. And Lucas Hahn, Stefan Faas up to 8th position already. What a start that is by Stefan Faas. He started this race in 13th position and he's already up to 8th. He's having a dream time of it. Kursim's dropped to the back, so too is Jose Rodriguez. Jamie Anderson is down in 10th position. And what a brilliant start as well. Whoa, 3 wide almost there. Shane Brayton and Jamie Anderson make contact. Jamie's off on the gravel. There's dust and smoke everywhere. Can't see what happened. I'd imagine Jamie continued on. It seemed like he was in enough of a straight line to save it. But wow, what a lively first couple of corners. But Norbert Kish leads once again. Sascha Lenz in second place, with Jochen Hahn in third. Behind them, Albertetti in fourth position. He's hoping to try and have a better day than he had yesterday, admittedly. That fire between races, or at least in race one, that had them working incredibly hard between the two races, was certainly not in the plan. You can see right behind Jochen Hahn right now. He's just filling his mirrors for the moment, assessing the situation, waiting to see when he can potentially have a go, make a move. There's two approaches you can take to this part of the race, really. Some drivers will hold back and wait and just try and assess what's going on, the truck in front of them, how they're behaving and performing in comparison, and then try and make moves later in the race. But then there's others that realise this is the most compressed the field is going to be, and you need to get the moves done ASAP and crack on with it. Antonio, like I said earlier, he's been around the block. He knows exactly what he needs to do. And drivers don't always have the exact same approach to things like this. They can change that approach race on race. It's all very circumstantial. And look at that train there. Who is that? That is Steffi Halm with Shane Britton, Jamie Anderson, Jose Rodriguez, and Andre Kurzim, all queuing up behind. The race lead to the good. Last time that they broke any of the timing beams. It's gone up to 1.6 seconds across the line this time round as well. So, yet again, we see Norby extending the advantage. He's always said that one of the things he prides himself on is that he can do qualifying pace in the race. You know, when people have qualifying pace, sometimes the quicker maintaining pace that they can have during the race. But Norby always says if he can do a lap time in qualifying, it's more than likely he'll do it in the race. About that, I tell you, he's Steffi Halm in 9th position at the moment. Hoping again to improve, as that's a big lock up there by Shane Brayton. These things are tough to stop though at the end of the day. They are over 5 to spot the tyres by just having one tiny lock up. Because the tyres are such a high profile though, there's a lot of energy absorption goes into them, the way they flex and move in one corner with, for which we're very grateful. And I'm sure with quite a lot of, they don't have an easy time throughout the races to these tyres. And quite long compared to other truck racing formulas. Here in the Goodyear FIA champion behind Teo Calve. Lucas as an incident under investigation between Shane Brayton and Jamie Anderson. Now that, I believe, will be the contact a little bit earlier on that we saw. Here we look at Antonio and Adam Lachko. At a minute. Now, if they do get into a battle, they don't want to battle too hard because they don't want to lose out Jock and Hahn ahead of them. Adversaries of each other. They've been racing a long time with each other, haven't they? Quick reminder that all of our trucks run on 100% renewable HV diesel, the champion being carbon neutral within the next 16 years. And that's going to be at the latest as well. There's a lot of steps in place already for the championship to end up carbon neutral. And that includes the events as well. They're pushing very hard and working with these incredible teams to not just help the sport, but of course help the industry as well. And that's one of the most important things about truck racing, is that it can help bring the industry forward in a sustainable way very, very quickly. It's a great test bed for a lot of technologies that you can see on the road. So right now, Norbert Kish has a lead over 2 seconds from Sascha Lenz. Jochen Hahn in third is not too far behind, as you see. Seemed like Jochen was dropping away a little bit in the opening lap or so, but now it seems like he's the one that's closing in on Sascha rather than Sascha breaking away. You can hear tyres squealing like mad around the final corner there as they get put through a lot of punishment. They really get leaned on there as the drivers go onto the power. There's your race leader, Norbert Kish. As confident as ever. Looking as calm as ever as well. That's one of the things about Norby's driving, you know. Just always looks in control. Really just getting the job done in the correct fashion with no real dramas. Now, I'm honestly expecting Jochen Hahn to be within touching distance of Sascha Lenz very soon. He's really closing in. He's doing a great job of it. Consistently faster in each sector. Although, just as I say that, actually, this time they weren't through Sector 1. Sascha Lenz was about half a tenth quicker than Jochen Hahn. So I stand corrected by myself. But Jochen is a man that certainly knows, again, much like Antonio Albertetti, as I mentioned earlier, guys that know when to attack, when to hold back, and just fill the mirrors, put the pressure on. Or when a battle might be all in vain and you have to think about championship points at the end of the day. That is how you win championships. Not just being quick, but being clever about who you fight and when, and how hard you push it. Let's see what the gap is between the two of them this time round then. Norbert Kish extends his gap to 3.2 seconds. It's about 7 tenths now between Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. So it's not moving around too much at the moment. There is Antonio Albertetti and Adam Lachko still following on in 4th and 5th places. We spoke to Tim Frost yesterday, actually, who was saying that they were sorting an issue while the truck was on the grid ahead of the race and keeping their fingers crossed that everything worked in race 2, and it did. And Antonio didn't actually have that bad a run of it either, to be honest with you. So it's good to see the truck still going well. Touch wood, no further engine issues so far. You can just see the gap there that Norby is extending corner after corner now. He's starting to get away. Now, something we've mentioned about Autodrom Most while we've been here this weekend is that for the last 6 seasons, or well, 4 of the last 6 seasons, Most has actually provided us with the smallest race-winning margin of the season. It's always been a place where close racing is guaranteed, and it is proven in that fact. But we also saw the largest winning margin in 2021 around this circuit as well. 21.907 seconds. Norbert Kish won the race by. And that was race 3 as well, this particular race last year. He's not quite on to repeat that at the moment, unless he has some massive turn of pace or something happens behind. But he's still disappearing off over the horizon, isn't he? 6 laps complete now. That's what the counter in the top left is telling you. And me. There's Teo Calve, by the way. Position. He's ahead of Lucas Hahn. Apologies. There was Steffi Helm for a second there. Those two in the Promoters' Cup. That's what the little P means next to their names. The Promoters' Cup is for drivers that are rated as Chrome drivers. So rather than sort of Pro and Am in this championship, we have Titan and Chrome. And the Chrome drivers race in the Promoters' Cup. It was known as the Goodyear Cup last season. But of course, now with Goodyear being the title sponsor of the championship, it is now the Promoters' Cup, as it has been known in the past as well. Now we've got some drivers on their warnings for penalty markers. And Steffi Helm actually got hit at turn 1, I've been told. So we saw Steffi on the gravel into turn 2, and it seemed like she got a hit off the very start. Who did she have behind her on the grid? It was Jose Rodriguez, actually, behind her on the grid. And, well, in pure coincidence, Jose Rodriguez was the driver that went straight on at the chicane yesterday at turn 1 from second on the grid. We've been sent all of the wonderful footage as well, and it gets communicated behind the scenes, so I can have a quick look at that while the race is going on. The Sensata Smart Witness camera, which is used for the judicial reviews, means we get a nice close-up view of the action, and all of the stewards and officials can all have a look as well when it comes to making decisions on incidents. You get a driver's eye view of the action. And of course, they don't just help us here in the racing, they help in the outside world as well, in the trucking industry. And they give everybody a good view on what goes on. Now this is battle for P9 right now between Steffi Helm and Jamie Anderson. And I've just seen the contact actually between Steffi Helm and Antonio Albacete at the start of the race. We did see bodywork damage on Antonio's truck, so apologies to Jose Rodriguez, who I wrongly assumed that it was. But it was Antonio Albacete that made the contact with Steffi into turn 1. She's now right behind Stefan Fass in that battle. Stefan running in 8th place at the moment. Jose Rodriguez is now on his 2nd warning for penalty markers. Another one, and he will get a penalty. Scania, Iveco, and MAN all together there. You can see this little trio still stuck together. Down the start-finish straight. We've We've got debris in turn 13, apparently, which the drivers might need to be careful about. That's just as they go down the hill. Jamie Anderson moves to the left-hand side there in an attempt to get past Steffi Halm. Tries to get around the outside of the first part of the chicane to then have the inside for the exit. Don't think it worked. There's Shane Brayton and Jose Rodriguez next up. These two just outside the top 10 in 11th and 12th positions. You can see the bodywork flailing around on the back of Jose's truck. And you can see the tyres, as obviously they spin forwards, it actually blows that piece of bodywork up into the air. You'd expect with the airflow of a normal racing machine that it'd just sort of clamp it down onto the bodywork with the air pressure, but no, look, there you go, you can see it flopping up in the air. Sometimes they do move over to the inside of the truck and sort of rest just in the middle, or just like it did there, right on cue. I'm sure the invoice is in the post. But it's not really causing any harm, to be honest, so it's not something that they would get black and orange flagged for. Black and orange flag gets given out when there is bodywork or parts hanging off the racing vehicle that could become dangerous if they came detached, or of course be a problem to other drivers as well. As somebody's really kicked up the dust there on the exit of turn 17. Surely one of the three in that trio ahead of these two. And there it is, Stefan Faas leading from Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson. Stefan in the final podium spot in the Promoters' Cup. Jamie Anderson wants to grab that back off him. Jamie obviously hoping to improve after qualifying in 9th position ahead of Lucas Hahn. He's dropped one place from where he started. There's a big amount of argy-bargy going on in the first few corners. Now, Steffi's tried to go around the outside of Stefan Faas here into the chicane. It's not quite worked out. I think there might have been a touch between her and Jamie there. Jamie has to tuck back in on the exit of 2. And they keep it clean for now, much like the racing is, because it's all 100% renewable HVO diesel. You can see a little bit of bodywork hanging off Steffi's truck on the front left, a little bit on the front right of Stefan Faas's machine. Currently, Stefan is 5th in the Promoters' Cup. As Steffi's gone deep into turn 10. Jamie sees an opportunity, puts it down the inside. A little bit of a hip and shoulder on the left-hand side. A bit of debris is apparently now in turn 1. I think that might have been from Jose Rodriguez. His bodywork might have come off. Jamie moves just in front of Steffi. Just slots in front before they go through turn 13. Reminds me of the old hairpin at Donington Park, actually, that corner. Going downhill into quite an open right-hander. It's not quite 90 degrees. Oh, big lock-up from Steffi. She almost goes in a complete straight line at turn 15. Somehow manages to still make the corner. That was one hell of a lock-up, and now Jamie is going to just ignore that she's there. He's going to look forward, and he's going to try and continue to move past Stefan Faas and get into 3rd place in the Promoters' Cup. Great battling, though, from the three of them. Norbert Kish still leads the race, and we're actually on to the final lap already. He's got 5 seconds over Sasha Lenz, who's got quite the advantage now over Jochen Hahn. Antonio Albertetti still ahead of Lachko. Those two have had some right ding-dongs in the past as well. You never know, they could have another battle coming into this final lap, and it looks like it. There's the debris at turn 1. You can see it's sat right in the middle of the road there. It's going to be a bit of a hazard for the drivers. Norbert Kish leads there, Sasha Lenz, then Jochen Hahn, and then look behind. Antonio Albertetti has Adam Lachko right up behind him now. Lachko in 5th place, only 0.3 of a second back when they crossed the line. It's now about half a second as they go into turns 8, 9 and 10. There's Norby exiting 10. Been another very strong race for him, and this is going to extend his championship lead even further now. Starting to look very untouchable. You can get 60 points out of a race weekend, with 20 points for winning race 1, 10 for winning race 2, and of course, then it's the same again, 20 for race 3, 10 for race 4. And I think Norbert is going to just about put his championship lead at around 60 points with this race victory. If he finishes ahead of Jochen Hahn in the race later on, then he could do it again and put himself an entire race meeting's worth of points ahead of the next driver on the grid, which surely would put one hand on the trophy already, even with 3 race meetings to go this year. Well, never mind that. He's got 1 corner to go in this race, and I'm sure we're going to see him kick the back end out potentially and enjoy himself as he crosses the line. And Norbert Kish takes what's going to be his 11th race win of the year. Fantastic drive. Once again, very, very dominant. Back in 2015, he won 19 races. He could very still well do that, actually. And look at that. Antonio Alberthetti just beating Adam Lachko across the line there for 4th place. Lenz finished 2nd. Hahn finished 3rd. Theo Calve takes a win in the Promoters' Cup. 2nd place goes the way of Lucas Hahn. And, oh, Jamie Anderson just has Stefan Fass at the end. I thought it was Stefan. I thought Stefan had it, but Jamie Anderson steals it at the line. 8th place overall, 3rd place in the Promoters' Cup, and that's an extra bit of silverware for the British driver. Wow. Be good to see if we could get a little replay of that one, but you never know. But Jamie just nips it in the bud, and right at the end gains an extra position. Great stuff. Bad luck for Stefan Fass after an amazing start, considering what happened in qualifying, and he was right at the back of the grid as well. He is the man with no luck. If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. Norbert Kish, though, 11 wins now this season out of 19 races. That is very, very impressive, isn't it? So far, well, we have 10 races left to go this season. If he can somehow win 8 of them, then he'll have equalled his record for most wins in a season in 2015 with 19 victories. 19, honestly, 19, 1-9. That's a lot of race wins, isn't it? Even now, I mean, 11 race wins at this point is just awesome. And apparently, Jonathan Andre had a spin, but then continued on. And another very entertaining race. Great finish at the end, though, between Jamie Anderson and Stefan Fass. Must have just got it out of the final corner, maybe just got the run on him. As I mentioned before, it's one of those circuits where every corner flows into another, so you have to really string it together very well. Not a bad race, that, from the aspect of the Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliners. Adam Lachko finishing 5th ahead of Theo Calve in 6th. They'll still have wanted a bit more, of course, after being 2nd and 3rd in free practice on both occasions as well. That's not a bad result at all. Good points for the team. So we have the same top 3 that we had for race 1. And a different top 3 in... Sorry, it's not the same order, apologies, as race 1, but it was Norbert Kish winning the first race from Jochen Hahn and then Sascha Lenz. Now it's Kish from Lenz from Hahn. Theo Calve takes his 2nd win of the weekend in the Promoters' Cup, and Jamie Anderson continues on a 100% podium record this weekend in the category. He finished 2nd in race 1, won race 2, and now has finished 3rd in race 3. So he's got a full house for the weekend. But there is Baloo, the gorgeous red MAN of Rivesh Racing. Norbert Kish sounds the horn, pulls into the pit lane, and I'm sure we'll have quite the standing ovation from his team and all the fans down there. Another very solid textbook day at the office for Norbert Kish. Jochen Hahn, more strong points in his championship campaign. Sascha Lenz closes that gap back up now. As we mentioned before, it was 15 points, he was saying, between the two of them. And you get 15 points for finishing second and 12 for third, so that now goes down to a 12-point gap. But Norbert Kisch opens up his advantage ever further and takes it now to 59 points. So he is 1 point away from being an entire race meeting clear of everyone else in the championship. That is quite scary, isn't it? Hugs all round for the team. There's Szabo. And if there's one thing that you can take away, except for Norby's clear talent and great relationship with his team, it's the fact that he is very, very respectful of them. You know, he always appreciates them, gives them a shout out here and there, and obviously every single time he gives thanks, he knows that it's the team that sets the truck up and gets it going with him. And he's very appreciative of their work and what they do. But another victory for Norbert Kisch, ends up winning the race by 5.5 seconds over Sascha Lenz. Not quite the advantage he won by last year at 21.9 seconds, but still. Another epic performance, more points on the board, and another trophy to add to the incredible cabinet now. That is his 74th win in his career in the championship. And there it is, 5.518 seconds at the end. Norbert Kisch wins from Sascha Lenz, Truck 2, P2. Jochen Hahn finishes on the podium once more. That is going to be Jochen Hahn's 269th podium of his career. He's closing in on Antonio Albertetti's record. Adam Lachko, Truck 55, is P5, just behind Albertetti, who finished 4th. Teo Calve wins the Promoters' Cup in that one, ahead of Lucas Hahn, and Jamie Anderson just mere thousandths of a second clear of Stefan Faas. Steffi Halm, again, she will be hoping for more in the next race. Jamie Anderson, importantly, will be back on pole position once again. Let's see if he can get that 4th win, shall we? Jose Rodriguez will start 11th after finishing there in this one. Andre Kurzim finishes in 12th. Shane Brereton down to 13th place, with Jonathan Andre finishing at the back of the pack in 14th for Lion Truck Racing. But looking at the results then, we're going to have Jamie Anderson and Lucas Hahn once again going head-to-head on the front row of the grid. Teo Calve and Adam Lachko making it a full Freightliner row 2. Bit of scrutineering going on down here at Sascha Lenz's MAN, but they're going to get them all moving away now. Jochen Hahn pulls off down the pit lane. Earlier, you know, when there was a shot of the trucks coming into the pit lane, there seemed to be quite a bit of smoke coming out from one of the top 3, and it seems that Sascha has got something worth looking at there anyway, coming out from it. You can see a little bit of smoke moving around, but he will now make his way further down. You could see the 3 Promoters' Cup podium finishes there as well. And they will also do the same and make their way down, while the drivers make their way up towards the podium for the first race of the day. Round 19 of the 2022 season. Quite apt that we've got trucks 20 and 22 right next to each other like that, actually. And we have a word with our race winner now, shall we? Andreas is with Norbert Kisch.
Norby, can you hear me? What's going on there?
I think Sascha had some kind of a technical problem in the last 2 laps or something like that, and there's a lot of oil on the side of the engine, so maybe some kind of engine issue, or I'm not really sure.
But we see the truck is running already. Let's talk about your victory. It was the 11th victory of the season. What the hell are you doing with all these trophies?
Well, I mean, have you seen how close it was? You know, like it's Sascha really made a good start. It was the green light came just in the right moment when he was like a little bit coming back to the side of me. So he had a little bit of a momentum advantage at the moment of the start, so he could really stay on the outside. And also he did a really good job in the first braking zone. brake really late and stay on the outside. So again, I was concentrating on the exit, like yesterday with Johan. But I couldn't quite make it back in front of Sasha. So also for the second chicane, we went side by side. And I tried to stay on the outside, you know, I wasn't gonna give up, you know. I tried everything to stay in front. And then, yeah, also we do the second chicane side by side. So it was very, very exciting. And then the hairpin was the turn for me, where I could go in front of him and then start to pull away a little bit. And then after that, it was working very well, you know. So it's definitely we have a little bit of a pace advantage over the others in the qualifying and in the race as well. But things like the start and the first turn is always very, very tight and very, very tricky. But I think also yesterday and today we've seen a very fair fight, you know. They were really nice to me, Johan as well, and today Sasha as well. So I also try to give them always the space, you know, so that we can go side by side like this, what we did today. I think this was very exciting.
After this first maneuvers, you managed to stay in front. How is it when you're leading the field? Nobody is in front of you and you can watch in the mirrors.
Yes, I'm looking in the mirror all the time to see what the others are doing. You know, if I can build a gap, or if I'm losing the gap, or if I start to lose the gap. And then, you know, like after 5 laps or so, like after the half distance in the second half, I try to manage it a little bit, you know, to keep the car together, you know, because now it's getting close to the end of the season and we can see more and more technical problems, like yesterday with Antonio's engine, and now today Sasha has the technical problem on the engine, you know, so we have to save the machine, you know, so that it stay with us until the end of the season. That would be very important, you know, because you can lose a lot of points like with a technical issue like Antonio today, and Sasha was very lucky. Antonio yesterday, and Sasha was very lucky today that he could finish the race with this issue.
Thank you. Good luck. And go to the podium now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andreas, and thank you very much to Norbert Kish. We're just going to take a quick look at the championship standings, show you the situation as is now. Well, Norbert Kish has 253 points, so forget the fact that I said it's going to be 59 points. He is 62 points clear now of Jochen Hahn, and then Sasha Lenz is another few points behind him. Adam Lachko's creeping up there as well. He's 30 points back ahead of Antonio Albertetti in 5th. Then we have Steffi Helm, who's ahead of Jamie Anderson, who gets to move up even further in the championship standings. Andre Kurzim in 8th, with Theo Calve 9th, and Lucas Hahn, after only being part of 1.5 race meetings, is already up in 10th. Shane Brayton is 11th, ahead of Stefan Faas, who is tied with Jose Rodriguez on 20 points. Anthony Janiak, of course, we unfortunately lost him a few weeks ago, and he will stay on the board as a mark of respect for the rest of the season. Rennie Reiner and Martin Gibson are 15th and 16th, with Heinrich Clementecker and Thomas Robineau completing the field. And here we go then up to the podium for the top 3 overall. And Jochen Hahn will make his way around to the 3rd step. As mentioned, that's his 269th podium of his career. Antonio Albertetti has 276. Sasha Lenz is next up. Has to take a detour around the other side. And Norbert Kish once again takes a victory. Win number 74 for him, pole number 44. And this is going to be his 161st appearance on the podium from 331 starts. Third place trophy, as you hear there, goes to Jochen Hahn. Can steal my job, this guy.
Second place will be awarded 10 times soon, and it goes to Sasha Lenz.
Sasha Lenz gets the wonderful silver trophy for second place. As mentioned yesterday, I like the fact that they still have the whole bronze, silver and gold theme going on with the trophies. And going for gold, and often getting it, is Norbert Kish. Another trophy. Like Andreas said, what the hell do you do with all of them?
Hungarian national anthem for our winning
And there you go, the Hungarian national anthem for Norbert Kiss. They all wave to the fans, and then we'll pose for pictures on the top step of the podium.
and enjoy this moment. Time for photograph. Show us your trophies. Congratulations. Now you can change your caps to the team caps,
And now the changing of the caps has become tradition.
of course with the beautiful trophies for our top 3 riders.
And then we will have the champagne in just a moment. Of course, they won't soak each other at this point because we still have one race left in a couple of hours. The show will start at 4:15, i.e. the broadcast. Grid girls run for cover just in case because they know the drivers aren't going to soak each other. Sasha Lenz decides against spraying the champagne. He said something to Jochen Hahn. Jochen doesn't spray the champagne either. He has a sip at least. Wonder what the situation is there with Sasha Lenz. Maybe he's worried about something to do with the truck at the end of the race there as it was being looked at. Very interesting indeed. Great for all the fans to have such good access to the drivers in this championship as well. Fans of all ages and generations always make their way to the circuits that we visit all over Europe. We visit some absolute belters as well, you know. It's a really, really exciting calendar. Norbert there with more of his fans. He has a very big following all over Europe. Does Norbert, he's a real star, especially in Hungary, of course, where he's from. And in just a moment, I believe we will get the Promoters Cup podium, which will feature 3 drivers that we've had on the podium already this weekend, in what has become a very fierce championship fight once again. Last season, it was very much a 2-horse race between Theo Calvé and Shane Brayton. This time, it's a bit of a 3-horse race. Shane Brayton has unfortunately dropped away a little bit from Anderson and Calvé, but it's still been a great, great fight up to this point. And 3rd place in the Promoters' Cup was Jamie Anderson. Another visit to the podium for him. This is his 12th Promoters' Cup podium this season. 2nd in the class, Lucas Hahn. And Theo Calvé takes another win in the Promoters' Cup. That's his 7th win of the season and also his 12th appearance on the podium. The trophies are brought over. Jamie Anderson receives the 3rd place prize. And on the opposite step of the podium in 2nd place, Lucas Hahn gets some more silverware or goldware for the cabinet. And Theo Calvé is next up, taking the win in the class. Very well done. The young Frenchman, big smile on his face. And there we go, the French national anthem for Theo Calvé. And they're going to get podium pictures taken. And then they'll have the champagne in just a moment. And the grid girls and all personnel run for cover. And Jamie Anderson and Theo Calvé all soaking our cameraman, of course. great. Smiles all round from our 3 Promoters Cup podium finishes. And that will round out the podium presentations for the 19th round of the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship here at Autodrom Most. Look at the wonderful scenery that we have before us. Just going to have a quick look at the Promoters Cup points before we go. Teo Calve now has a 10-point advantage over Jamie Anderson, with Shane Brereton on 179 points in third. He's quite far clear of Jose Rodriguez now, who has 10 points over Stefan Faast. Then we have Heinrich Clementecker, and Lucas Hahn is still climbing up that order. Martin Gibson is 8th, just 1 point clear of Thomas Robineau and Louis Requenco, but they're 3 drivers that we don't have here with us throughout this weekend. Behind them, Jonathan Andre has amassed 10 points this weekend so far. Emma Mäkinen got her 9 points at the Nürburgring, and so too did Stefan Kirsch and Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort. But that is all for this broadcast, at least, I believe. We actually have Teo Calve. Apologies, that's me getting too ahead of myself here. Andreas is down there with Teo Calve.
Teo, congratulations. Another impressive victory. You stayed out of trouble, as anybody did in this race. There was not a lot of action. Do you like it in this way, or do you like it more when there are fights between the trucks?
No, of course I prefer when there is fight. It was a little bit boring race, I'm sorry to say, but I had the pace at the beginning, but then they were faster in front, so I decided to release a little bit to save the tire and the truck overall. So I saw Lucas behind it also, so yeah, I just finished the race. I won the Goodyear Cup. I'm really happy. The start was a little bit funny because there was some contact and I took 1 position more. So yeah, I'm happy with this.
How much are you looking on the championship points now in the second half of the season? Is it important for you?
Yeah, of course it's important. I was only 9th. It's really far. I got a lot of problems on the previous races, but I think I went back this weekend because I did not a bad weekend overall, and the others had bad weekends. I'm sorry to say also, but so maybe I came back. I hope, and of course I would like to finish in top 6. It can be good.
And in the last race of the weekend, race 4, reverse grid race, I think it will be really interesting because there's you in the second row, and then in front of you it's Lucas Hahn and Jamie Anderson, the 3 guys who are battling for Promoters Cup win.
Yeah, of course, it will be an interesting race. I hope it will be better than yesterday, the start in second race for me, but I will try to save the truck and to keep pushing as much as I can.
Okay, good luck for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chess.
Lovely to speak to Teo Calve there. Thank you very much, Andreas. And, well, Teo is a real star, really lovely young man, great driver, and, of course, someone that we need to really keep our eye on in that next race later on, which will be coming up at 4:15 local time, and we will be seeing Teo Calve start 3rd on the grid behind Jamie Anderson and Lucas Hahn. It's sure to be an absolute corker, and I hope you'll join me and everybody else at 4:15. We'll see you then, everybody.